Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The US military says it has launched another round of strikes against Iran to further degrade its capabilities to attack ships in the Strait of Hormuz. The 10th consecutive night of strikes took place after US President Donald Trump vowed to punish Iran for the deaths of US soldiers. President Masoud Pezeshkian said Iran was now fighting a full-scale war with the US. Trump earlier said Iran had been hit very hard the previous night in honor of 3 US soldiers killed recently, 2 in Jordan and 1 in Iraq. Iran has once again responded to the latest wave of American strikes by attacking US allies across the region. Elsewhere, the Houthis in Yemen have announced a maritime blockade against Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has imposed a 50% tariff on a wide range of goods imported from Canada in retaliation for what he called unequal treatment of US cars, dairy and alcohol. Writing on social media, Prime Minister Mark Carney said this is the latest in a series of unilateral US trade actions that began with the US imposing a series of tariffs in direct violation of the Canada-United States-Mexico agreement. Everyday consumer items like wine and hockey sticks and industrial goods such as cement are among those targeted. However, several key exports will be spared, such as energy, critical minerals and fish. The White House said the duties would take effect in 30 days. It marks a major escalation in trade tensions between the North American neighbors. Ghana's main opposition party has reacted with anger after one of its most influential leaders was sentenced to 20 years in jail with hard labor for illegal mining offenses. The New Patriotic Party alleged that the landmark judgment against Bernard Atwi Osiako, the party's chairman for the Ashanti region, was politically motivated. Popularly known as Chairman Watumi, Bausiako is the first senior politician in Ghana to be convicted of illegal mining since the government began a crackdown on the practice in 2017. As well as receiving a jail sentence, Bausiako, who has denied the charges, was ordered to pay more than $10,000 in fines. Protests have taken place in Italy after the death of a Moroccan-born man while being forcibly restrained by 2 officers in the northern city of Bologna. Several thousand people took to the streets on Monday night, demanding justice for the man. A smaller group then splintered off and clashed with police into the night. Prosecutors say 64 police officers were hurt in the unrest. Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni said it was imperative that the truth surrounding his death should be investigated, but nothing can justify violence against law enforcement. The Lebanese army has moved back into the town, first handed back by Israel under the US-brokered withdrawal plan. Lebanese troops deployed on Tuesday in the southern town of Zouta al-Ghalibiyeh, the first handover of territory under a US-brokered pilot zone. The plan foresees the Lebanese army confiscating weapons from the Iran-aligned Hezbollah in parts of the south, alongside phased Israeli withdrawals from land Israeli troops have occupied since fighting ended last year. Lebanon hopes the scheme, which also covers the towns of Froun and Srifa, will eventually restore its control over a strip of territory roughly 10 kilometers deep.
Oh my God!
A former US Army soldier has been arrested after igniting a fire in front of a federal building in New York City. Andrew Arabica allegedly started a fire outside the Immigration and Customs Enforcement offices. Federal agents tackled the suspect, who they say was armed with a machete and other weapons. 3 people sustained minor injuries in the incident, including an immigrant who was attending a status hearing. The Lower Manhattan site has become a flashpoint for protests against President Donald Trump's immigration policies.
He did say he was targeting the building, and he was okay if he hurt or killed people going in and out of the building, whether they were federal employees or civilians.
And Spain's World Cup winning squad returned to celebrations with an open-top bus parade through the centre of Madrid, cheered by a crowd estimated at almost 2 million people. The players, wearing shirts reading "We Are Champions," met King Felipe and Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez before setting off for the closing ceremony. Coach Luis de la Fuente called it an emotional and proud experience. It's Spain's 2nd World Cup title win and the country's first since 2010. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.